Hey, welcome! If you are serious about building a rock-solid foundation for English fluency, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're kicking off a quest, and believe it or not, it all starts with just one single, powerful number.
That's it, just 12. Now this isn't some random number I pulled out of a hat. Nope, this is a massive shortcut. It is the key that's going to unlock a huge piece of everyday English conversation, and we're going to master it together.
And that's because these aren't just any 12 verbs. We're talking about the most common, the most essential, really the most powerful verbs of the entire English language. They're the absolute heart of communication.
So what makes them so powerful? Well, it's all about this number right here, 70%. I mean, that's just a wild statistic, right? These 12 little verbs make up the vast majority of our daily basic conversations.
Just let that sink in for a second. If you can master just these 12 words, you can pretty much understand and jump into about 70% of most conversations you'll ever have. This is the foundation, and we are building it starting right now.
So, how do we actually do this? Look, this isn't about just memorizing words from a list. It's about understanding a system. We're literally going to build the engine for your English communication, and we'll start with how you describe the world as it is, right here and now.
And to do that, we need a special tool. It's called the present simple tense. Now, please don't let your eyes glaze over thinking this is some boring grammar lesson. Think of it more like the default setting on a camera. It's the one you use to capture your current reality. The present simple is just how we talk about things that are, generally true. It's for the stable facts of our lives, the routines we follow every single day, and the basic truths about the world around us. It's truly the bedrock of how we communicate. And this is where it gets really practical. We use the present simple to talk about who we are, what we do over and over again, things that are just always true, and of course, what we have. See? You're already using these core ideas to define your world.
All right, the moment you've been waiting for. It is time to meet the stars of the show. These are the 12 verbs that are going to become your go-to toolkit for building fluent conversations. So let's break them down.
First up, we've got the two most fundamental verbs of all, be and have. Be is all about your identity and condition, who you are, how you feel. And have is all about possession, what belongs to you or what you're experiencing. These two pretty much define your basic existence.
Okay, next, let's get into action and creation. Do is your go-to for general actions and tasks. Make is for when you create something new, something that wasn't there before. And take is for grabbing, moving, or using something. Like you take a bus or you take a seat. Now let's get inside our heads. How do you talk about what you're thinking? Well, you say words, you know facts, you think about your opinions, and you see with your eyes, or you see a point, which just means you understand it. These are your tools for sharing your internal world with everyone else.
Next up is a really simple but absolutely crucial concept, movement. It's basically a tale of two directions. Go is for moving away from where you are, while come is for moving towards you. So I go to the store, but please come to my house. Simple, right? But so important. And finally, we've arrived at the most flexible, the most versatile, and sometimes the most confusing verb of them all. I like to call it the chameleon verb, get. It literally changes its meaning depending on the situation. If you can master these 4 common phases of get, you will be so far ahead of the game. It can mean to receive something, to become something, to arrive somewhere, or to understand an idea. Nailing these 4 uses is going to make you sound so much more natural, so much faster.
Okay, so you've met the verbs. Now it's time for an insider's secret. This is all about training your ear to hear English the way people actually speak it, not how it's written in some textbook. So let's crack the code.
Here's the absolute key. Native speakers don't pronounce every single letter of every single word. We just don't. We connect sounds, we reduce them, we speak fast. Your biggest challenge isn't learning more words, it's learning to hear the words you already know in a completely new way.
Take this, for example. You read, do you know, but you will almost always hear, do you know. Those two words just melt into one quick sound. Start listening for do you, and I promise you'll start understanding questions way more easily.
Here's another little trick for you. That S at the end of a verb for he, she, or it almost always links to the next word if it's a vowel. So he knows it becomes one smooth sound. He knows it.
Start listening for that connection.
And finally, we have the famous stop T. In fast speech, especially in American English, that T at the end of a word like don't just disappears. It becomes silent. So, I don't know sounds a whole lot more like I don't know. It's a tiny change, but it makes a huge difference when you're listening.
And that's it. You've done it. By understanding these 12 verbs and, just as importantly, how they actually sound in real life, you haven't just learned a few words. You have just completed the first, most important quest. You have officially built your foundation.
You know, this really says it all perfectly. These verbs are the engine. They're the things that do all the work. They drive the conversation forward. Everything else you learn in English from here on out is going to be built on top of the powerful foundation you put down right here today.
So, I've got one final question, and it's for you. Which one of these powerhouse verbs are you going to make a point to use today? Don't just think about it, put it into practice. Go out there, say it, use it, and start building your fluency. Thanks so much for joining me.